Welcome to today's live webcast on business disruption. This episode we're looking at innovation. My name is Steve Waite, I'll be your host for today. For those of you that don't know the Business Centre, we're a not-for-profit organisation in existence for 35 years with a history of helping small businesses through providing business advice, practical education, in collaboration with industry experts such as Justin, who we have today, but also in partnership with local, state and federal government and small business programs. It is with the support of the New South Wales Government's Business Connect program that we are able to bring you this small business disruption webcast today on innovation. And our special guest for today, expert, is Justin Hales, who is the Chief Executive Officer and founder of innovative peer-to-peer caravan hire and caravan sharing, community Camplify. A locally grown technology startup, the idea of Camplify was born and based on Justin's experience on family holidays as a child, and Camplify was able to be launched due to the support of the Slingshot Accelerator Program in conjunction with the NRMA. Now, Camplify can be described as Airbnb for caravans, motorhomes, camper vans and camper trailers, and Camplify, and Justin talks about this as a community, connects owners with hirers in a safe and secure environment. So in only a few years, Justin has skillfully navigated the commercialisation journey of building a new product, recruiting a large team of talented people and raising enough capital to now dominate the Australian market and now enter the new markets, including Spain, France, the UK and New Zealand. Now, we're going to have a discussion. We went back and forward on this before we started today. And we're going to look at innovation in sort of three themes, and I'm just going to walk us through those at the moment. That'll be the way that which we'll have our conversation and give us a chance to get an insight into your head as an entrepreneur, an innovator, a person that created a business from nothing. And then taking that through so we can give people a sense of that. Well, what's that like now in the environment we're in now, and how does that look into the future? For sure. So the first thing we're looking at has been, I thought we'd set this scene around three areas. The first one is discussion of the question of the Chinese word for crisis, or wei qi, which in crisis there is always the seed of opportunity. So following this Chinese word or the word for Chinese in crisis, it has two elements. So crisis in Chinese has two symbolic elements, danger and opportunity. So that suggests that no matter the difficulty or the circumstances, no matter how dangerous something is, there is always on the other side of that opportunity. So that's the first thing we're going to look at. The second is a little bit more around economic theory and Schumpeterian theory of disruption and destruction in industrial markets, and that concept of early rents. And we've seen that in the last 10 to 15 years with technology, of course, and Uber would be a key example of that, a disrupted marketplace. But now people have come in to that marketplace, and Uber is no longer alone there. There are competitors, but it did take some early rents. It took some early opportunity. And then the third theme, which I love, and the slide that illustrates that, is don't build something without a sense of how it's going to be used. And I know you've got some really interesting insights from how you built your business. Sure. But first, I think it would be useful, and it's the first question we always ask everyone that we're in this disruption series, for you, what have been the impacts on you at this time, this whole exercise? What's been the impact on you personally, in your business models? What's it been like?
Yeah, it's been interesting. Obviously, operating a business that's primarily focused on tourism. Yep. And we kind of we saw it in stages because we obviously operate in the UK. We were just setting up to begin in Spain for the summer, and so we kind of saw the Spanish impact first. So of course we started to see that there was something happening there.
So how did that manifest?
We have employees in Spain, so they were telling us about what's happening in the Spanish market, and what the government was sort of providing information to them, how fast things were sort of happening in that market as well. Yes. So we very quickly saw that and thought, oh gee, this is going to have a big impact on us, and what will happen if it goes to the UK was their next thought then. Yeah.
So you'd set up in the UK previous to Spain.
Yeah, we've been in the UK for about 2 years. Right. I was in the UK in February, as the last week I was there, the sort of first case came to the UK. And just being in the UK at that time, it was pretty obvious that once it got to the UK, it was going to spread very quickly.
Yeah. Okay.
And then similar things were going to happen in the UK to what had happened in Spain in terms of lockdowns and all that kind of stuff. So we could kind of see that happening a little bit, and we could see that was going to affect our markets. So we probably didn't predict. I certainly didn't. One of our other, our COO, probably predicted it, that it would happen here as well, as much of an impact. So, we've sort of gone from a business that was doubling and doubling and doubling. Every month we double our previous year's month at least, and continue to grow. To a business that's basically on pause. So, it's been interesting sort of navigating that process and, navigating that as we dealt with, both, employees that were very much a team that's grown, all a similar age group, all grown very fast, all very friendly with each other, all loved being in the office together.
Yes.
To being saying, well, you can't come into the office anymore, you've got to work from home. And then, dealing with that as the first part.
Yes.
But still being able to operate, and then making the decision early to say that, hey, we think we're going to get lockdowns happen, and so we need to start building some tech to be able to cope with that. So we had to build some.
So you had to adapt.
We had to build some things into the platform that we hadn't built before.
Right.
With a sort of preemption that may happen.
What types of?
So probably one of the biggest things we had to build really quickly was around our credits and refund system.
Of course.
So our credits and refunds were quite manual before.
Yes.
So every time we did a refund, because we didn't do one very often.
Yeah, because you were working in quite a successful model.
Correct. So it was quite manual for us to do that. It was probably 2 or 3 team members had to touch every refund.
Right.
So we saw that may happen, so we decided we needed to spin our tech into some of those areas faster.
So essentially automate some of those transactions.
Correct. Yeah. So we did that quite early. So we did that sort of late February, and then the first state that we saw affected was Tasmania. So we had a huge amount of people going to Tasmania for Easter. And as soon as that state lockdown happened, within about 5 minutes of it being announced that there was a lockdown, we instantly gave all of our customers credits.
Okay.
So they instantly had a credit, and then they could contact us if they wanted to get a refund. So we had a lot of people, so about 75% of people said, yeah, I'm fine with credit because I want to be able to travel in the future.
Yeah.
And I'll just adjust my days to when I go away.
Yeah.
But then, we had a lot of people that were coming from overseas. We have no idea when that's going to happen. So, coming from, Spain or France or other countries in Europe or wherever it may be, the US.
Yeah.
So for those people, we had to go and issue them a refund.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of manual processing in there. Yeah. But then it's also sort of communicating back with our network and our community of people that
on the other side,
the platform who for so long have started out as people who were just doing this as a little side gig into now it's their small business.
Yes.
And all of a sudden their small business is gone.
Yes.
Because you can't travel anymore.
And they're an essential component of how this all works, aren't they?
And they, unlike us, they have hard assets they own. They have finance for those assets. They have, they're a small family that's relying on this income coming in.
Yeah.
And not only has it stopped, then we had to refund as well. So, dealing with those customers has been challenging, and for us, it's been trying to put things in place that we can help them out with. So, we've done lots of things around helping, writing letters for them to give to their finance companies.
Yes.
So their finance companies understand that
yes.
this caravan or RV or whatever it is they've purchased, is not something they use personally.
Yes.
It's something that is used for an income generation.
Yes.
And so here's a statement of how much income they generated in the last 12 months to be able to show that to them.
So this whole event is cascaded throughout your business model.
Yep.
Tell me, if you're able to, before we kind of get onto your origin story as a startup, and I guess you're very much an early stage, gone beyond an early stage venture now, but very much startup philosophy, methodology still embedded within you. But before we go there, have you got any insights, or can you give us a sense of some of the measures of government to help startups or early stage companies? Have you been able to execute anything there, or
we probably haven't, because we've been around for about 5 years now.
Yeah.
But I've certainly been staying in contact with lots of the startup sort of people.
So I know that you're quite connected to a lot of other startups as a mentor.
Yeah. So I think people that are generating revenue and can show that revenue, they've been able to get some things back.
Yeah.
People that are pre-revenue, very difficult.
Yeah.
And a lot of startups, like I've been through this journey myself, you sort of have a thought that you might be pre-revenue for 6 months, and then during that time you're building software, you're building customer feedback, you're building models, all that kind of stuff, with a view that you're going to raise some capital and then launch your platform. Well, that time frame is
elongated or truncated, one
correct.
of the two. Yeah.
So you probably now, instead of being that 6 month pre-revenue time, you might be 12 months.
Which we were talking before, and we were talking last week about Airbnb, how they'd gone to the market and raised $1 billion. I guess there's going to definitely be opportunities, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But the runway is certainly different, isn't it? You're going to have to recalibrate.
The runway's going to be massively affected, and I deal a lot with people in the capital market at the moment, and they're not as willing to take a bet on a early stage company unless it's something that is directly going to have some impact.
So pitches are going to have to be really clearly articulated and thought out.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you've got an established company that's got established customers, that's got some long-term vision, that can see a path through this, then there's capital there for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're a company that was kind of more pre-COVID world, and the journey back to the norm, is unknown at this stage.
Yeah.
And there's no sort of, this is how we're going to operate and make this really work in this current environment now.
Yeah.
That's going to be difficult for capital.
Now, we've got live questions that come through. We'll get to those as we go along, but I want to kind of come back a little bit to you, and I guess your origin story. So perhaps you could just give us a sense of that. And we've spoken about this before, your whiteboard and ideas, and that you'd had a previous startup. Can you just give us a sense of that, and then we'll come to this notion of Wei Chi and danger and opportunity, about the whole startup mindset. So just give us a bit of a sense of how Camplify was born, and what it came from, and how you got there.
Yeah, so I was in another mining-based startup. So we were a small mining software company that was really at the start of kind of implementing software to replace spreadsheets in that world. We very early listed on the stock exchange, probably too early, but it all worked out. And then we eventually sold the business. So I left that business when it was just about 12 months after it was sold.
Yep.
And at that stage I was looking for sort of something to do myself, and sort of had the idea of Camplify.
Well, tell me the story of how you went for a walk.
It was very, the whole thing evolved very quickly. And so, it's just all the sort of planets aligned as well. So, my wife essentially said to me, hey, I'd love to go on a camping holiday. I'm not going to stay in a tent. I have to stay in a motorhome or a caravan. I want to take our dog with us. Go and sort that out for me. So,
necessity, the mother of invention.
Exactly. So, started, Google searching and trying to find things. And really at that stage, so it's about 5 years ago, the domestic market of people looking to hire those type of vehicles. Just it wasn't focused at that market at all.
Yep.
It was really focused on inbound tourism. So it was focused on people coming from Europe, going on a holiday, and flying into an airport, getting a vehicle, doing a trip, coming back.
Yeah.
And so that RV sector was roughly about 80% inbound tourist focused in Australia. So couldn't find anything, and every afternoon, my wife and I talked about this holiday, and I just said, look, there's just nothing around. It's hard to find something, and I had this sort of realisation. Every sort of 100 metres of passing a motorhome or a caravan parked on the side of the street. Yeah. And I just said, it'd be good if you could just hire your neighbours like Airbnb, and that's sort of how the idea came about. And probably within a week of me saying that and having that idea, then found out there was an accelerator program on specifically around vehicles and road trips and that kind of thing, and then that kind of all plugged together and applied for that accelerator program and got in, and that was it.
So tell me about the whiteboard that you had.
So I had when I just made the decision that I was going to leave the previous startup, I basically would write down an idea at least once a week. Yep. So I had an idea, had a whiteboard with all the different ideas on it, and some basic sort of outline, and I had about probably 8 to 10 ideas up there that I thought could work. Yep. And Camplify was one of them. So I had a bunch of other things.
And you're a bit of a systems thinker. I mean, you're a Scrum Master, trained, certified, Servix, also Microsoft certified. So you're quite systematic in the way that you formulate your ideas.
Definitely from a business process point of view. Yeah. So I definitely think about business processes and how how those things work together, and how doing something over here will affect this customer, and what how that will. I like to think about user thinking and how they will try and make the decisions.
Yep. Okay. So to come back to our theme here around the danger and opportunity side of crisis, what are your thoughts about that? Because clearly in 5 years you would have been through danger and opportunity, danger, opportunity. What, as a startup mindset or innovation or entrepreneurship, whatever the words are we use, how do you approach that, and how do you see that? If you can bring that to sort of now, this period of now, the danger and opportunity, the balance.
Yeah, I think for a start, we're very lucky that we're in the majority of our market share is Australia. So Australia's still 80% of our market. Yeah. Australia's going to get through this thing and get back to some normality of business fairly quickly. In the whole time scale compared to other markets in the world. Yeah. So I remember the first time we sort of debuted this idea at an RV show, and that was in 2015. Yeah. And people saying to us, every person shooting us down, that'll never work. Yeah. No one will ever do that. Yeah. No way I'd ever consider doing that. Yeah. I always use the one that someone told me. I'd rather rent my wife than my caravan. And so
courageous.
Some interesting ones there. But so we've gone from that in 4 years to a recent survey that in the market that said that 75% of RV owners are considering doing this.
Right.
So we've gone from this huge evolution. Yeah. So right now we're a little bit back at. Let's get back to some startup thinking.
So when you approached it, you were walking towards what was a dangerous idea. It was seen as a dangerous idea, but you saw the opportunity. Maybe that insight that you also spoke about, where you took, a rough form of the idea to the marketplace. Remember when you went to that?
Yeah. So we always do everything in an MVP style thinking. Right. So minimum viable product. Right. How can we
tell us more about that?
Do something. How can we test it? See that it's working. Get some user feedback. Yeah. Do it as cheap and as easy as possible, just to see whether that's going to work, and then then we can look at actually investing some money into it once we've got some user feedback. We've seen the potential and the possibility in the market before we do anything else really. Yeah. So probably a good example of that right now is we've looked at what are our we've got this great platform for hiring RVs that works really well from a marketplace point of view. Yep. What else do our customers need? Yep. What else? What's things going to look like on the other side of this for us? So we know that there's a couple of different bits and pieces to this. We know that when we get out of this, domestic tourism is going to be a big thing for people. 42% of people recently said that the first thing they're going to spend money on is a holiday. And holidays are going to be in your own country for a little while.
And maybe not too far away from home.
Maybe. Yeah, that's right. So we've just seen that in Perth over the weekend, Western Australia, that you can go in your own region and have a camping trip.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
right.
It's gonna continue to evolve over the next few weeks, but that would mean for us that there's a whole heap of people that perhaps would not have considered going on one of these sort of trips, will now go, well, maybe I should do that. Maybe this is a good option for me to be able to pack everything into a vehicle, go on a trip, still have some luxuries at home, but be able to connect back with a bit of outdoor lifestyle. So from our point of view, we're looking at that saying, what do those customers need?
Right.
And so we've seen lots of times that our other customers, the owners of vehicles, they also need products. These customers over here need products. So we've decided to launch a sales marketplace so people can sell equipment from each other as part of that. And so that will help both our owners who have equipment to sell, them who are looking for things, but also the hirers that need things to go on this holiday. So we've been able to take an existing off-the-shelf piece of software, done a 45-day trial with that software at no cost, been able to configure it up in a very basic way, see how it would look, contact some customers, say, would you use this? How would you use it? Can you go and trial it for us, see how it works? And we've been able to do enough of that configuration and feedback so that now we can say, all right, this is worth investing some money into.
So back to the original principles and methods you used when you began the business. And I guess for your overseas marketplaces, you're going to have some sort of agility, I guess, to then say we can take that across there. Because I know that you spoke about the language and the translation journey, that was interesting as well. So you're going to have to revisit that.
Correct, yeah. We do everything in the Australian market first before we do it in any other country, because that's where we are. And so the bulk of our team's here. We can start to build stuff here and then say, right, would that work for the UK? Would that work for New Zealand? Would that work for Spain? And spin it out from there.
And are there nuances, differences in the customer behaviour in those markets?
Yeah, there is. And now there's different legislations. There's different,
of course,
vehicle types and journey types, and different types of hire. And
so you got to tweak. You got to tweak your system for each marketplace for the customers. Okay, I want to come to our next theme, which is this notion of a part of an economic theory, which I like, and I've read a lot on. I find it fascinating that out of and it's Schumpeterian theory of innovation that suggests disruption, and in disruptions, we take advantage of the early rents available when there is destruction of markets. Well, there can be no truer representation of that than now. Industrial markets are in ruin and destruction. So what are your thoughts about that concept of early rents? I certainly have a sense of it from my own business background, but what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, look, I think that there's, in every thing that changes, there's an opportunity. And so, for us, it's going through that process and feeling that pain and thinking, well, how's that going to change? What's going to be the new way of us being normal, not just as our business, but as a society? How long is it going to play for? That's probably a little bit of the unknown at the moment, is how long is it going to play for? So how much do you invest until things come back to normal? So, for us, it's about trying to be in the best position we can be to be able to take advantage and get something.
So you are already starting to define that concept of some early markets. There's going to be new and you're trying to pick up through your testing, your iteration on where they are, without giving anything away commercially. And I guess for a lot, it would be reasonably easy to assume some of them. But what sort of early markets are you seeing?
I think one of the key things that's going to happen is a change in behaviour of the type of way that we travel. So, there is going to be some time before people in Sydney can go to the Gold Coast. So, what does that look like, and how do we provide some services around that? So, does it mean that your holiday for the next 6 months is going to be within 2 hours of your house? You know, how do we take advantage of that, and how do we provide that solution, provide the way for someone to be able to plan that holiday?
Yep. Okay. I've got some questions here. We might have a look at some of those, if that's okay, Justin. So we'll just look at Dave's question there first. Dave, I have an idea for a mobile app. Got a quote from Melbourne developer for big bucks.
Yep.
What should I consider before spending this money? P.S. I'm not a tech head.
Yep.
So you've probably heard this many times. I've got an app idea. What are your experiences?
Yeah, look, there's lots of different ways you can build technology without it actually having to be a full-on app. So there are some things that require absolute app capabilities, you know, whether that's integrated with hardware or you know, specific things that you have to do. But in many cases, you know, we like to use a combination of different web technologies that already exist.
Okay, want to tell us more about that?
So, you know, say for example, if you're collecting data, there's a bunch of different form things you can use. So, you know, Typeform is a great example of that. It's off the shelf. You can build whatever forms you want to. You can make them look really nice. You know, it might cost about $30 a month. You can plug that into an existing web development platform. So there's some, you know, great off-the-shelf platforms like Bubble, which is a no-code website platform that you can, you know, kind of spend, you know, a week learning, build something, and you can actually wrap that up into what looks like an app, but it actually isn't an app. So you can actually, you know, even go to the point of view of publishing that as an app, but it's actually a website, just functions
web-based,
like an app.
Well, that's interesting because we had another question there from Wendy about saying, people keep telling me that data is the new oil. How has data affected your business model? I guess you've touched on it a little bit, but with AI and automation of collection of data and algorithmic approaches to customer journeys, etc. What have you done there? Yeah,
look, we've done lots of things around sort of understanding who the customer is, understanding what the customer wants and how they're functioning. But our probably next evolution of that is sort of where's the customer wanting to go.
Wow, predictive.
So being able to find that information out before it happens. And so, you know, we're working with some of the tourism authorities on that at the moment.
Getting ahead. Because you were doing a lot, weren't you, during the bushfires, I guess.
Correct.
Talk about disruption. So what were some of the things that you were doing in that space?
Yeah, so we had various levels of disruption during bushfires.
Indeed.
We had lots of people, you know, the South Coast, for example, which was pretty hard hit, is a very big destination for holidays in New South Wales, and that happened right in peak holiday season. So we had lots of people that were going there that had to cancel. You know, we had lots of people that are owners and live in that area that were affected. So, you know, working with both of them in that regards.
Because there was a tension point there, wasn't there? I remember it clearly of come for holidays, no, don't come. It's safe, come now, or don't.
Correct.
You know, so there was a lot of back and forward. So you started working with LGAs and with groups, didn't you, to say let's work together?
Correct. Yeah, in the recovery process we did with that. So you know, we started off with a program to get photographers into that region.
Okay.
So you know, we basically provided all the vehicles, sent photographers to start gathering a lot more information about, you know, this is the areas you can go to and that kind of thing as well.
And that's what, when we, last week in our webcast on tourism, I was interested with some of the information that our speaker, Will Creedon, shared in regard to Airbnb, how they'd introduced experiences into the sale of their products. So they'd engaged 5 Olympians who were able to give a very localised experience of this is my city, this is my region, this is the bar I go to, you know, this is the place I walk, this is where I go for a run. So are you looking at that as well, that experiential element?
We do that kind of with our owner community. So the
I was about to say the other side of it.
RV owners to talk about, you know, sort of a lot of our holidays happen quite close to where the owners are. So, you know, it's about providing you know, this is the best local fishing spot. This is the spot to go camping if you want to go in this region that you know, tourists don't know about, or whatever that might be.
And I noticed, talking about Western Australia, that in Western Australia they're going to be introducing mandatory training for hospitality workers as a strong signal that we've addressed risk here. Are you looking at that as well?
Yeah, we've actually in the process, just at the final end of building a training module for our customers to be able to look at what that looks like.
Yep.
And I think I think generally the whole sort of caravan camping industry will probably look at something around that as well.
You can imagine, I was thinking before we were talking today, you would not only with the cleanliness and the safety of the vehicle that you're hiring, but indeed the site at which the vehicle will be taken to or parked. There's going to have to be a whole industry response, isn't there, in regards to that?
Yeah, that's right. And I think, in terms of recovery, it'll be one of the first tourism areas to recover because it is outdoors. There is a lot of space between people. And in most cases, most people are self-contained.
So social distancing could be managed if it could be managed.
Yep.
We've got a good question here from Chad, which sort of takes us back to this early rents concept and theme. So Chad asks, my business mentor keeps talking about the importance of understanding your value proposition. Is this important?
Definitely. Yeah, it's definitely important. I think understanding, kind of, but not just your value proposition, but your unique value proposition. So how are you different from competitors? But not just, your product and services sometimes can be exactly the same as your competitors, but there might just be one thing that makes a big difference.
Yep.
So, for us, we saw a lot of competitors pop up very quickly. But the big difference that we did was we nailed insurance. We made it really, really simple for people to be able to hire through their platform.
And this was a barrier.
Big barrier.
Yep.
And so, being able to instantly be insured through our platform and to be able to not have to go and change anything personally, not have to worry about, am I covered? How does this work? Be able to provide a really simple way for people to be
and
insured.
we've spoken about this before. So that was it was a pivot for you, wasn't it? It was something that you didn't initially conceptualise, was it, at the beginning? So tell us more about how insurance came into the business model.
Yeah, so it was something that we didn't really understand the insurance world and understand the impacts of what that would be on the customer. So pretty quickly we started to work out that this was a big aspect of someone making that decision, and it was something that dramatically impacted their ability to say yes to it.
Because some of these vehicles are $150,000.
That's right. Yep, yeah, that's right.
I'm going to give this to someone to drive around,
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it was at a time, and it's changed a little bit in the last few years, but at that time, the insurance world didn't understand peer-to-peer rental and hire and how that was going to impact them. So, we had to go out and source our own insurance product. We had to have it built specifically for us.
Yep.
And then we had to put some cash behind that to fund the early stage, so that we were actually able to provide that to our customers.
So essentially your startup or your business created a whole new insurance segment.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So, for us, that was one of our big, unique products that we had and that value proposition.
I'll just pop in another question. Sarah asks, how do you stay optimistic and driven during such trying times, bushfires and then COVID? What drives you?
Look, I think the first couple of weeks were difficult, to be honest. We built such a fantastic team of people, and having the prospect of, well, how am I going to keep all these people together? Because yes, we're a software platform. Yes, we have a great insurance product, but really, the core of our business is the people that run it. It's the development team, it's the customer service team. It's those people that provide really the edge over anyone else in our market. So, that was some challenging times to actually look through that process. The JobKeeper package was massive for us. That really did help us. There were some gaps in that, but I'll come back to that. But I think every time, and being an entrepreneur and being someone that's done a startup and gone through this process, they always talk about sort of the highs and the lows.
Yes.
And you know, quite often you get to the valley of despair, where you think, oh, what am I doing? This is never going to work.
What did I do this
is
for?
a massive failure.
Yeah.
So I've been through that many times.
Yeah.
And it doesn't last very long, generally. Something will pop up.
Yeah.
It's probably a little bit longer than it has been in the past. You know, for me, in the past, it might have just been a couple of days, and then all of a sudden something will happen, and you know, you go from right down here to right up here because something the total opposite's happened.
Yeah.
But you know, now, you know, the bushfires was a great example of. I felt that was a bigger impact at that point because it was going to be a much longer recovery time for those people, and so the motivation at that point is to help those people on our platform.
Stay in here, yeah.
So you know, it's our responsibility.
Yeah.
We've built this product and this platform that these customers are reliant on.
Yeah.
How do we help them recover?
Yeah.
So that was sort of our motivation around that.
Yeah.
You know, this I can see that the other side is going to be huge for us. It's going to be a massive boom time for domestic holidays. It's going to be enormous for the caravan camping industry.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you look at it over an 18-month period, it will be a blip in some regards.
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, you just got to kind of look at.
Yeah.
Well, now's an opportunity for us that have been, a business that's been growing super, super fast. We haven't got a chance to take a breath. Some of our processes and software and a bunch of things are sort of just hanging together because we have grown so fast.
Yep.
So now's an opportunity to go and fix some of that stuff.
To consolidate.
Consolidate and get ready for the next big boom.
Yep. Yep. So, with regards to your technology and your technology and your innovation and your software writing, your code, do you have overseas partners and how do you pull all those elements together, being an IT-based startup or, you know, existing company that?
Yeah, we've gone through various different iterations of that.
You onshored, offshored, or combination?
Everything. Yeah. So, you know, we started out with, you know, one developer here, part-time.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he was a university student.
Yep.
And then, you know, we then took on a couple of resources overseas, managed them. Then we added in, you know, a sort of hybrid approach, which is overseas plus here, and now it's sort of evolved to a full team here.
Yeah.
So the overseas resources, you know, they did a good job, but they just didn't nail it quite 100%.
Can we have a little bit of a talk about that? Because in one of my businesses, it was the same thing. You're certainly looking at efficiencies, productivities, cost with regards to code writing and platform development. However, at some point, for me, it was a loss of translation. The effort and the work and the productivity was there, but it was when you've got a system that's so nuanced and so subtle. How did you manage that part of that?
Yeah, look, I think they were great to be able to do that thing that we mentioned before about the MVP stuff.
Yeah.
So smaller investment, able to prove that the model's working, seeing some growth happening in it, seeing some revenue, and then saying, right, now we've really got to hone in, do it better.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that being someone that's managed software developers before.
And what's that like?
Well, you know, it's a good process, can be challenging, but you know, I was always kind of seen myself as someone who sort of operates between the business world and the software world. Yeah. So being able to sort of translate that into what.
So how did you do that?
How did I physically deal with?
How did you deal as a project, a business project? How did you deal with the software world and the software developers and that world that it is?
Yeah.
And then the hard realities, commercial realities of facing it out there and making an income on it.
Yeah. Well, it's also understanding that software developers generally are people that won't challenge you. So I've found that quite a lot. Is that as a business person, if you say, "Oh, this is what I wanted to do," how long do you think it might take? And you know, a lot of you you try to get a software developer to give you a understanding of it's going to take this long. It's never that long. So you've kind of got to go through the process a bit more and say, like, talk me through how you're going to do this. Yep. So let's talk about the first piece, which is the design. Yep. What are the things we've got to design?
Yep.
how many screens are there, what are they going to look like, how's it going to flow together, how does it all work on a piece of paper essentially. Then to be able to then conceptualise that into some framework, how long is that piece going to take? Then to build each one of these screens, right? How many days is this screen going to take? How long is it going to take? How long is it going to take? And sort of go through all that process. And lots of times I've had software developers say to me, "Oh yeah, that's easy. I can get that done." But easy for me might mean, okay, I'm going to have it done in a day. Easy for them might mean it's going to take me 3 months.
Okay.
So it's understanding those very different nuances, because every day you're having that thing developed, you're essentially burning money. So it's understanding, how much am I prepared to burn? How much is the actual burn going to take to be able to build that thing?
Which this kind of takes us to our next question. We'll take one of these off the screen in a moment, but I just want to come to our last theme. So this whole concept of design and customer experience, and we've got that diagram that I've got up there, that map of where the users go. You might have designed it to do this, but they're going over there. So that whole principle in this current crisis, and assuming that building the right solution and having the right user experience in mind, what insights further to that would you have, that you've learned on getting this bit right? Now, build it right. What's your thoughts?
I think there's a combination of things there. I think there's definitely a need to understand who your customer is and what they're doing. But there's also an acceptance that you don't have to solve it for everybody.
Okay,
so
that's a good insight.
You have various different levels in your business that you go through. So the first part might be a very niche set of customers that you might ever have 100 of those. But they might be the very early adopters in the core to your business. And you only need to solve it for them. And that's it.
That's a good insight.
So the rest of the customers will find it difficult. They won't use it. They'll complain, whatever it might be. But it kind of doesn't matter, because you just want to be able to solve that thing for those set of customers.
I think I agree with that. My own experience of that with what we had was we were trying to be a solution for everyone, but as soon as we found that bright spot moment when it was, we can do this for these people. We can't do this for everyone. Once that
you cannot solve for everybody. And so having a piece of software that is a consumer platform that anyone can use. We see that all the time. We'll have customers that come along and go, "Oh, I don't like the way this works. I don't like the way that works," and which sometimes is really good feedback. But then the reality is that we've got thousands and thousands of customers.
You can't rebuild the whole platform for one perspective. Okay, we've got another question here, and we're getting towards a close on our webcast. Julie asks, as Australian tourism will be focusing on domestic travel, will you look at expanding your business platform to support and advertise other small tourism businesses?
Not advertise, but definitely support. So I think the whole reason you go on a road trip is not just about going camping. It's about all the things that you do along the way, and it's about the best pie shop that you go to. It's about the all those different experiences. So we want to incorporate that into the whole kind of way that we're promoting. So we did a bit of a trial with one of those not too long ago. We sent a couple of people up to the Warren Bungles and did a whole sort of trip around there and documented the whole trip. We're going to be launching that as a series pretty soon to sort of show people that process of coming from Sydney. Where do you go to? What are the things you can do and see? And why would you go there? What are the things? There's a fantastic local distillery, and there's amazing local produce that you can see, and art galleries and all that kind of stuff.
Those real insights.
Someone that is in Sydney and their general holiday may be to go to Thailand. Well, let's reconnect with those things and the places that exist locally. So.
And you're going to be able to do that through the platform and through your AI and through hitting people at the right moment with that information. Okay, we're at the point where we'll start to wrap up, but we always ask for a tip or two about our topic for the day. So for innovation and for starting a business or formulating an idea, what would be your tip or tips that you could give us and leave with us?
I think I've gone back to the principles of the lean canvas in the last couple of weeks, and looked at what are the pieces that we want to add into our business. You know, what are the new products we want to build, and so I picked up that lean canvas and took the idea and then looked at who are the competitors, what's stopping it from happening, what's the unique value proposition of that product, what are going to be the how's it going to be financed, how are the negative, what are the positives. So just building that one-page business plan of that product, and then proving to myself that yes, this is something. Taking it to one of my mentors, getting their feedback, and then building out the financial model from there.
I like it a lot. I think it's so important, isn't it, at the beginning, and something that we share with you is have a methodology, and there are methods out there to help you really chase an idea through. You don't just have it washing around as a conceptual thing. There really are disciplines that can be applied to an idea, like lean canvas or a business model canvas, where you can really say, well, this is a formed view of what the product is. This is the customer segment. Here are the underpinning revenue and costs, and here are the key partners, etc. You can bring all the elements together, and you're doing that now. You're going back to those principles. Yeah, good to hear. All right, Justin, thank you so much. We really appreciate that you've given your time to us at a time like this. So that's very much appreciated. And you're a very generous person, as we all know anyway here, with helping others. So if anyone would want to contact you, they can contact us, and if we're able to pass their details on and you can help, we'll certainly do that. But it's time for me to say goodbye for today and thank Justin as I have. I'd just like to wind up innovation and I guess it is a time that lets us go beyond the pandemic and disruption to a future where the crisis is no longer here. And as you've intonated, it's time for the emergence of new products and service models, which is what you're looking at. But I guess we'll have some sort of link, won't we, to this time that it's created a whole range of new ways of doing what we do. But on the other side, as you said, and we agree, the clouds will go away, the storm will pass, and we'll move on. If you'd like to find out more about the Business Connect program, or if you'd like to find out more about us and what we do and how we can help, go to Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, or just Google the Business Centre to find out more about how we can help you. If you'd like to view more of the Business Connect program or the Business Connect Disruption webcast, please go to our YouTube channel or Google Business Connect, and you're able to register for Business Connect. The New South Wales Government is able through this program to support people at whatever stage, and it's a highly subsidised program, a great place to go anywhere in New South Wales. Finally, I'd like to thank once again Jono and Tom, the amazing team at Fordtronic, who provide the webcast expertise and technology behind this webcast, and who've been our AV partners over a whole range of projects, both before COVID-19 and after, and we strongly endorse their work. If you would like to talk with them about implementing webcasting as part of your business, or want to talk to us about accessing our site here at the Business Centre to film or cast an event, let us know and reach out to us. We'll close off there today. Thank you very much, and we look forward to speaking to you in the next webcast. Thank you.